for those who I haven't met, and there is a number of you that I haven't met yet, my name is Anita van Rooyen. I'm a confidence coach and a human behaviour expert, and have been working in the field of helping students with their mental well-being, at the moment mostly through student accommodation properties, and expanding that out, I guess even particularly now through times of COVID everything. So welcome to you. Thank you so much for being here. Today, my intention in this hour is to give you a bit of an overview from a human behaviour perspective around what students are facing, what we can do to help them, the challenges that they're coming up against right now in this time of, you know, we've used the word unprecedented a lot here in Australia. We've just had unprecedented bushfires, and now we've gone into unprecedented, you know, global shutdowns and all kinds of things like that. So I'm not here to spend any time telling you about how to wash your hands or, you know, social isolation or anything like that. My focus here today is very much about how do we, as a body of people, look after the even bigger body of people that we are responsible for. Firstly, by, I guess, looking after ourselves. If we are not looking after ourselves, we cannot look after other people. It is very much that case of, you know, like on the aeroplane, oxygen mask on you first before it goes on to anybody else. And I know when I heard that the first several times on aeroplanes, I was like, oh my God, that's really dumb. Why would you do that? Why would you put a oxygen mask on your kids first before on you? And now as a coach, and as, I guess, a human as well, starting to understand that more and more and more, that, you know, we as a group have such a responsibility to the people and the students, the teachers, the staff that we're working with, that looking after ourselves and being really aware of making sure that we are filling up our own buckets first is such a vital thing, especially at this time, because we can't pour from an empty cup, as they say. So welcome to you all. I, of course, always like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we are all meeting virtually on today, wherever you may be across the planet. Welcome to you. Acknowledge the traditional custodians of our lands, and acknowledge the elders past, present and emerging. A quote that has really struck with me at the moment is something from the phenomenal Marie Curie, who, you know, 2 times Nobel Prize winner, champion of X-rays, you name it, pretty much she did it. And she was quoted as saying that, you know, nothing is to be feared. Nothing at all is to be feared. It's only to be understood. And when we understand things, then we don't need to fear them anymore. And in this time of who knows what is coming next for all of us, that is something that is really vital for us as the people that we are, and also in forwarding that out to students. So today I want to take you through kind of just a high level approach of some of the mental health issues, challenges, things, and understanding those from a human behaviour perspective, and giving you some insights as well, and looking at how we can really help our students through this space, in this online environment that we find ourselves in. So in understanding, you know, when we understand things better, we can reduce fear. Who thinks that that might be a useful thing, to reduce fear in ourselves, in our students, in and there is so much fear that's going on because everything is so uncertain. And as humans, our base need, we have, you know, so there is these 6 core needs that we have, and our base need is certainty, something that has just been totally rocked. Now, we all know that, you know, generally when you turn on a light switch, the light comes on. You turn on a tap, the water comes out. You go to the toilet and you have plenty of this, right? You have plenty of toilet paper. And the problem is, you know, we now are in this space where because there is so much uncertainty, that people are grabbing a hold of anything that can give them some certainty, including hoarding toilet paper. Yeah. And it's a weird thing when you kind of go, why toilet paper? And when you look at it from the human behavior side of things, it makes a whole lot of sense, because until we have certainty kind of locked down for us, which means, you know, we need to know that, you know, on a broad scale, we need to know that things are just going to be the way that they always have been. And in this environment that we're facing right now, we don't have that at all. We don't have any kind of certainty that things are going to be the way that they've always been. And I think that that's probably right, because I'm not sure that things will ever go back to being the same. This has awakened a whole lot of opportunities and different ways of looking at running businesses, running schools, running all kinds of things. So this whole space of certainty is not there. Anybody else feeling that certainty is like there isn't any? Yeah. And when we don't have that first layer of certainty, knowing that we can go to the shops and buy food. I mean, I think we've all gone now to the supermarket and have seen empty shelves. Yeah. And even if it's not at a conscious level, at an unconscious level, that starts bringing up the fear, the panic response that is in all of us, because we're so used to going to the supermarket and just having anything that we want there. Who's been to the supermarket and there's been one grocery item that you really love that is all of a sudden either not available because they've just taken it, they're no longer selling it, or it's just not available on the day? Who's had that? Yeah. And is it annoying or is it annoying? It's annoying, right? And now there is whole racks of food and stocks and things that are not available, and it builds up inside of us, together with every news we get, you know, blasts on the TV, news bulletins everywhere. It's inescapable. Yeah. Even if you're trying to watch something that is not a news bulletin, all of a sudden you get these, you know, the pop-up newses that pop up in between. And that is providing a lot of uncertainty for us. It's providing a lot of uncertainty for the people that we serve as well. So hence the toilet paper debacle and all of the other things that are now people are starting to panic buy, and that's getting worse and worse. So one of the things that we can do as providers, as people that are looking after students and their well-being, is to help give them as much certainty as we can. Now, certainty is it can come from structure. And even now in the world that we're facing, there's a lot of spaces where we don't even have that structure. Yeah, like university classes. They're all gone online now. There was the structure where, you know, you had to get up, you had to get your ass moving, get out of your student accommodation or wherever you were and get yourself to class. And now we're in a space where that doesn't even need to happen. Now, I think most of us are aware that when those changes happen, and in a normal kind of world, if students are receding into the background, staying in their rooms, not turning up for classes, that's a really big warning sign for all of us for mental health challenges. And that kind of moving back into the background, like we all have to do now with the isolation and distancing, becomes an even bigger challenge for students. We all need to have connection. It's one of the other 6 of those core needs I was talking about. Certainty and uncertainty, connection is in there as well. And by creating some structure for students, we can help them to build certainty in this world that is so crazy uncertain. In a normal world, for a lot of people, structure feels a bit like a noose around their neck. I know, like, I am a coach. I get coached. I had a coaching session around the word structure because it felt like it was just so constricting for me. And because I love variety, I absolutely love variety. Now in the world that we see ourselves in, there is too much variety, there is too much uncertainty. And so building in some of that structure where there are things that happen at certain times of the day to help students, you know, even with the basic of things like getting up and having a shower. Yeah. We all know how, I know from with working from home, and I've been doing it now for several years, that it's really easy if you're not facing anybody for the day to just skip a shower, or the next day you skip a shower, or you stay in your PJs the whole day, and then by the time it gets to bedtime, well, you're already ready, you just jump under the doona. So building in and helping students with creating some structure around different activities, around things that can get their bodies moving as well as their minds. Now, because I think we all are probably aware of that space of how body and mind connection is really important for mental well-being for students. So I have a number of solutions that I'll chat about with at the end of this presentation, if that's okay, to talk about how we can help students move their bodies, move their minds, deal with procrastination and overwhelm and motivation, all of the things that we are now also facing moving into this world of working from home. Yeah, because who's all working from home? Yeah, most of us. Obviously some in student accommodation and in other areas will be still student facing, but with obviously with those restrictions as well. So helping your students to build some structure, to build some certainty, and that really, it helps them a lot because there is so much uncertainty. But we can help them with that by creating a real focus on positive. There is, I don't know if you guys are watching the news and social media, but there is a lot of very negative stuff in the media. Yeah. Yes. Noticing that? Yeah. And all of it just starts building in on top of each other, and then, you know, there's no food at the shops and there's no toilet paper and I can't go out and I can't meet my friends and can't have a game of basketball together and can't. So creating for you guys to create a focus on what things can happen, what are the opportunities here, what are the ways that we can pivot. This is the you know, the new buzzword. What things can we flip to help students understand what it is that they can actually do? Because in this time there are a lot of activities, there are a lot of things that students can do that we can help them with, that not only give them that structure but also give them a more positive kind of focus. Yeah, who thinks that that is a helpful thing to really create a solid focus on focusing on the positive things that people can do? Yeah, rather than, it's very easy to just, I mean, you just have to look at your front door and realize, oh no, I can't go here, I can't go here. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Shannon. Lots focus out of control, or focus of control. Let's build that. Let's build how we can, you know, build some. People feel they have absolutely no control over anything that is going on for them, and allowing students to feel that they have some control over something, that they have some structure, that they have some choices, that there's a whole lot of different things that are available for them in a really structured kind of way. Oh, thank you. Oh, locus of control. It was locus. Thank you. I'll have a look at that link. There's a link there if you guys want to have a look at that. When we feel that we are out of control, it feels like everything is out of control. Yeah. And actually, Shannon, are you good to come on and just give us a super brief explanation of what the locus of control is? Oh,
Ooh,
there we go.
I'm not really an expert, but it's just something that has been shown to me in other like resilience workshops and things like that. Is focusing on the things that you actually do have control over rather than external forces that you can't change. So accepting that there's some things that are out of your control, but there is a lot within your control, like the way you respond, that you can
Absolutely.
focus on.
Yeah, thank you. And that's exactly what we're talking about here, creating that focus on what is possible, what can we do here to build, like the skills that we're talking about here that students can gain coming through all of this stuff are life skills. They're not just skills for right now. These are skills that will absolutely build resilience and build that mental strength and mental well-being. You know, there's not many of us, fortunately, that have been through anything even close to this before. You know, some students have got backgrounds that are from, you know, really bad kind of places, but for the most part, our student body is, you know, we've grown up, we've done stuff, we've had some troubles, but nothing like this before. So really, for us to create a focus on what we can do, what positive things we can do, flipping everything. Our brain is wired for the negative. Ugh. Our brain is wired for the negative, and that's because we have, you know, our brain, especially like the fear center of our brain is right back here somewhere, and it is wired to look out for, you know, the saber-toothed tigers that we know that are always spoken about. It's wired to look for the troubles, the stress, the anxieties, the things that we need to avoid. And for a lot of us, you know, one bad thing, we need about 10 good things to kind of take over that one bad thing. And with the media being so overwhelmingly negative, fear-based, there's a lot of stuff that we need to do as providers to help our students in building that positive environment. You know, we're kind of past the crisis, oh my God, this is now real. Let's have a look at how we can support these students in their well-being by creating a really positive space. Obviously, you know, there are a lot of restrictions on what can be done, but you know, there are a number of Facebook groups. There's one I'll send a link through to if you haven't joined already. I think it's called Res Life Global Community on Facebook. And there's, you know, people from all over the world popping into there with really helpful suggestions about some of the things that they're doing in their properties for their students to help build a positive environment, to help build the, you know, what we can do rather than what we can't do. So that focus and that structure is super duper duper important. Now, there is obviously a lot of fear and stress and anxiety around at the moment. Does anybody want to have a guess? You can type it in the chat box about what sort of things can be a really useful antidote for stress and fear and anxiety. Go ahead and type your answers in. Fun with an exclamation mark. What else have we got? Clapping your hands for a minute and breathing, meditation, coloring, yoga, exercise, distraction, connection, sunshine, practicing gratitude. Oh my God, you guys are rocking this. I was reading something about repetitive movements and left to right movements, talking to friends. All of these things are absolutely perfect, and they're perfect. Remember I said we need to fill our cup up first. All of these things are perfect for us. They're all perfect for our students as well. Because with so much fear being like, it's thick in the air, You know, you don't really even need to step outside before you can feel the weight of everything that's going on, just the heaviness of everything that's out there at the moment. And the absolute antidote to fear is love. Love. We love love, love, absolutely, right? And love comes in a whole lot of different forms. It comes in talking to friends. It comes in gratitude. That is one of the most amazing ones, most powerful ones altogether. It comes in being out in the sunshine when we can. Not everybody everywhere in the world right now is dealing with a lot of sunshine, but being in the sunshine helps us to remember that we are part of something that is much bigger than just us. Yeah, it helps us to remember that that there is tomorrow, that there is certainty that the sun will come up tomorrow as well as the sun will go down tonight. The seasons will continue to change. That can help bring us certainty as well. And you know, gratitude, such a huge thing. I know, like literally at home, I have a sticky note. I have some sticky notes at home that are like in the shape of hearts because I just think that they're wonderful. And some sticky notes, and on my front door, I have a love heart sticky note with the word gratitude written on it to remind me that every single day when I leave, you know, when I go outside with gratitude. In my, this is probably too much information, but we've been talking about toilet paper, so it doesn't matter. In my bathroom, in the toilet, I have a whole load of sticky notes with all kinds of positive quotes, reminders of awesomeness. Simple things that, you know, we go and we might not even actually read them all, but at the time when you need it, I look up and there'll be one that will stand out. All of these kinds of things where we can start creating this focus on well-being, on love, on gratitude. You know, start something. If you have a Facebook group with the teams that you're in, start a post that is, send a message of gratitude to somebody, tag somebody in it. It doesn't matter who it is. All of these things that are simple things, simple reminders that we can help our students, but we're also helping ourselves. Yeah, I know, like my mum and my sister both live here in Melbourne with me, and it was a couple of weeks that we hadn't kind of seen each other face to face, when we normally catch up every month, and I just put in a video call to, you know, to my mum and sister, and there was the three of us that were chatting around together. And you know how even like with stress, it kind of creeps up, and it's only after you end whatever it is that you're going through that you notice, oh my God, how stressed I am. Everybody else feel that as well? It was like that when I had this phone call with my mum and sister. Just seeing their faces and being in the same room helped me kind of just do some of that. So encouraging yourself, encouraging your residents, other students, to really build that connection, build that that time together is such an important thing. Even, you know, we are separate, but how can we build that time together? I was one other thing, I'm just looking at my list here. Oh yeah, the thing I wanted to share with you is about fear from a human behavior perspective around, you know, fear is such an incredibly powerful force, either for positive or for negative, whichever way you want to look at it. But it is a force that is incredibly powerful, and it's super normal, especially at a time like this. And you know, in a time like this, understanding, like we spoke about with Marie Curie, when you understand fear, nothing is to be feared, it's only to be understood. And so I was just on a webinar on Monday with some students from the Student Housing Company, GSA Property. Actually, it was all the properties in Australia, 3 in Melbourne and 1 in Perth. And we went through some of these exact things that I'm sharing with you today about understanding what's going on with uncertainty and certainty, why people are panic buying, why there is this need for people to, you know, to go mad on toilet paper, why some shelves are empty right now, helping them to understand the behavior behind that, and then also helping them to understand around what fear is, and what kinds of fear, helping them to just understand that where they're at right now is completely normal. It's completely where you would expect people to be right now. And also helping them to understand a bit more about fear itself. Yeah, about how, you know, even the toughest guy on the planet, you think about Arnold Schwarzenegger, or whoever you think about as being the toughest guy on the planet. Maybe it's you, Anthony, maybe you're the toughest guy on the planet. Maybe. Whoever it is that you think about, that we all have fear, and we all have fears in different ways. So I explained to them about what's called the universal fears, and they're called universal fears because everybody has them. And I'm just wondering if you guys could just type in the chat box, what do you think one of the fears is that might be universal to everybody in the planet? Just tap it into the chat box. Job security, yeah. Death. Wow, there's a lot of death. It's really interesting because death is actually not one of the universal fears. Financial loss, illness, loss of a loved one. Death is actually not one of the universal fears. For some weird reason, I am totally not frightened of death. I do not want it to come, not now, but I'm not frightened of death. Inability to find toilet paper. Thanks, Kelly. That one is a big one at the moment. There are 3 universal fears, and one of them is the fear of not being loved. Heights? No, I love heights. Well, I love high heights. Low heights kind of frighten me a bit because, you know, if you fall from a low height, you injure yourself. You fall from a really high height, splat. The ongoing existential dread we all face knowing that daylight savings is about to end. Oh my God, absolutely. Totally agree with that one. Public speaking. Oh, that's one that a lot of people are struggling with. A lot of people are also struggling with getting their heads on camera now. Oh, that's a big one. And spiders, totally not universal, but I get it. I hear it, right? Universal fears are things like the fear of not being loved. And it's, you know, it goes back to, like, it's part of our biology, because, you know, there is this thing called failure to thrive syndrome where, you know, babies, if they are not touched and hugged and cuddled, even if they're fed, they do not thrive, and oftentimes will not even survive if they are not given love. So, you know, this is a biological need that we have to be loved. Belonging, the fear of not belonging is the second one. It's the reason why people do some weird stuff. I used to be a massive people pleaser. You don't need to admit it, but I certainly will. That, you know, that was my go-to. I wanted to be part of the crew so desperately, and I was never one of the cool kids. I was always one of the shy kids, but I wanted to belong to something so desperately that I changed my language patterns. I changed my, the clothes. I changed the way I spoke to people. I changed everything so that I could try and fit into a group. Yeah. And again, it's part of this biological need that we have, because when, you know, you go back like caveman days, if we didn't work together in a community, we couldn't survive by ourselves. We couldn't kill the food, make the food, do all the work. We couldn't do everything like we can survive a bit more now by ourselves. But when you look at it, we go down to the supermarket to buy food, to buy things. We're not going out, you know, with our bow and arrow trying to kill a rabbit or something to then bring it home and cook it up for dinner. Yeah. So even though we sort of say, well, we're surviving pretty well alone now, we are still interdependent on a whole range of other people. I am interdependent on the people that provide the electricity to me. I'm interdependent on everything, on the people that give us toilet paper. Yeah, the people that stack the shelves and deliver and do all that kind of stuff. I can't do it all on my own. And the third of the universal fears is feeling that you are enough. This was also my total go-to, that I was not. Have struggled with that all of my life. I realized it's now a bit of a genetic trait in my family, that it was my mum's thing and it was my grandma's thing, and talking to my mum, it was her grandma's thing, who knows how many generations. And when we have this fear that we are not enough, it means that we start doing also some really interesting and weird things to try and overcome that fear. And we can do that in either useful ways or unuseful ways. And it's the same with all of these things. You know, we can build that certainty that we're looking for. We can build that in really useful ways by creating structure, creating focus, or we can build it in really unresourceful ways, unuseful ways, by things like, you know, if you think about alcohol, alcohol will give you the, you know, it will start off with giving you some uncertainty, yeah? But if you drink enough alcohol, it is a certainty that you will get drunk, yeah? There is an absolute certainty that if you drink enough alcohol, you will get drunk. Now, this is not something I talk to students about, I'll talk to you about, but, you know, we can find our certainty in useful ways, or we can find it in ways that are not useful for us at all. So we get to choose, and all of our students get to choose as well. The difference is that we have some power. I use that word loosely. We have some ability to be able to help guide them in the choices that they make, whether those choices be useful or not useful. And especially now when students are struggling to just try and find something to hold on to give them the ability to understand themselves, to understand what's going on for them, and to be able to use this time as a gift. Because I have this weird theory that everything that we have that comes to us is a gift. And if we choose to see it that way, then we can make the best of it. If we choose to drown in the uncertainty and in the fear, then that is just going to envelop everything about us, and that's going to be a really negative slope. And that's that point where I think where we have such an important and powerful role here, that we can help our students determine, well, help them to make the decisions that are actually going to help them thrive through this, rather than live in this sort of space of panic. Yeah, make sense? Yeah. Any questions so far? I know I've covered a lot and I talk kind of fast. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or tap them in. I'll just wait for a second because it looks like somebody's typing. I know that like this stuff that we're covering is really kind of super high level and not specific to particular anythings, but I think it is, you know, it's important for us to have some idea about how we can, at that bigger, broad picture, help students to, you know, help to understand what's going on. Because, you know, a lot of behaviour seems like it's random behaviour, a lot of stuff, a lot of things that students do, a lot of things that we do, or our kids or our partners or whoever might feel a bit kind of random. And in human behaviour world, we know that nothing, like absolutely nothing is random, that everything we do for a reason. So Noha, did you have a question just now?
Actually, I want to ask about the workshops that you were setting for students, the 2-week program.
Yeah.
I want to ask if it covers topics like this, and if it's also still in progress, if it's still happening.
Okay. So yes, short answer is yes. there's a whole lot of stuff, and I've actually prepared like a one-pager for you guys to make it easy, because I know that everybody here's got a heap of stuff that they're all trying to madly manage at the same time. Confidence hackers have come up, I've come up with a whole lot of different options around this kind of thing. So we have options around like live webinars like this, where then we can answer questions and, get feedback and, get people putting hands up and typing things in chat boxes and that kind of thing, with a bit of a different focus to what our normal kind of regular programming is. For those who aren't aware, Confidence Hackers very, very much is in the space of mental health. We don't ever call it that, ever, ever, ever. We are in the space of prevention, and prevention is always 1,000 times better than cure. So our regular programming is through a thing that we call Operation Hide the Veggies, which, who's got kids, or if you've been a kid, your mum has grated, vegetables, carrots into things to kind of hide mental well-being skills inside of job readiness training and that kind of thing. So things like, overcoming loneliness. 30% of international students struggle to make friends and are incredibly lonely. So hiding those skills in like how to network. So kind of sneaky. I don't mind being a little bit sneaky to help with this kind of stuff. I think it's okay. In this new COVID world, all of our workshops have gone online, and yes, they are covering a lot of this stuff that we've talked about with, understanding fear so that you can overcome it, dealing with overwhelm, dealing with motivation. That's going to be the next really big challenge for you guys. Dealing with that, dealing with ranting self-talk, helping people with what I call that one constant question. So, that thing that just keeps floating around in your head and in your head, and the more you ask it, the more the bigger the question gets. For example, I had a lady, a private client of mine, who, her constant question was, if I don't have a child, what purpose does my life have? But at the same time, like, totally didn't want to have any children. So talk about a great way of setting yourself up for really having some struggles in your life, because that question would float around her head all the time. And I think we all have these kinds of questions where, we struggle to get an answer, so we keep just floating the question around and around. Other programming that we've got at the moment is, I've just launched, which is what you were talking about, Noha, is what I call the Corona course. There's actually 2 Corona courses. Each of them have 14 days worth of content, and they're all short drops of content, about 15 minutes of content, covering a whole range of different topics, from looking at what is your why are you here, why are you doing this, why is this important that you build in some focus, and all of these things that we're talking about, through to understanding fear, understanding certainty. It's a personal development course that focuses on all of the kinds of challenges that that students are facing right now. That's one that's around managing corona fears. And then there's another one that's also 14 days of content with like worksheets and links if people want to have a look at a bit more and understand in a bit more depth. That's specifically for those that are in that 14-day quarantine time. Again, 15-minute drops of content. And then, so it takes them through kind of this journey from fear all the way down through to boredom, which I think students are going to get to pretty fast, hit the boredom button. So, so there's, I'm just looking at, that's for mostly support online students. The challenge is getting the appropriate tools to support them. So the workshops sound amazing. Thank you, Bianca. Yeah, having this knowledge and having this understanding for students. I think for adults, like I know when I started training as a coach years ago, all of this stuff that I now just kind of go, oh yeah, well, everybody knows that. And then I remember, yeah, well, I didn't know it when I started studying, you know, when I was hoarding. So, you know, like all of this stuff, I just think to have students understanding what's going on for them, how they can manage it, how they can do things a bit differently is such an important thing. So I will email that list of stuff over to you. There's one little quick exercise that I want to do before I talk about something else, which who's got family overseas from where they are right now? Yeah, most of us. Cool. So this exercise I did with the students from Student Housing Company on Monday, and the response was like phenomenal. But I wanted to share this exercise with you. It's a really short exercise that truly helps to, you know, I said connection is such an important thing. This is something that helps build connection even when we can't be connected. So if you guys are game to do play along with me for this little exercise, that would be super fun. I would love for you to, if you choose to, take it on and do it, and let's just see where we go. People good to give it a go? Yeah, perfect, perfect. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. I am going to, because it just helps me get into the moment. So close your eyes and take a nice big deep breath all the way down into your belly, in through your nose, and then out through your mouth. Great thing working from home, you don't have to worry about bad breath. In through your nose, and then out through your mouth. And the last one, and as you do that, just notice your shoulders sinking down on the out breath. So in through your nose, hold, and then out through your mouth. That's it. And now I'd like you to remember a time when you felt truly loved. Now, this might be a time from any time in your lifetime. It might be a time from when you were a child. It might be a time now. Just a time that you felt truly, truly loved. And I'd like you just to remember that time right now. And as you remember it, I'd like you to feel what you felt in that time when you felt completely and truly loved. And then hear what you heard in that time when you felt just that unconditional love. And it might have been from a family member. It might have been, even if you gave that love to somebody, or a pet, a friend, a relative, a partner, it doesn't matter. Just find that time when you felt completely loved. And if you're struggling to find that time, think about a time when you could have felt truly loved, what that would feel like. And when you've got that moment, I'd like you to notice where in your body it is that you feel it. Just notice where you feel that feeling of love. And if it's not already in your heart, just move it right there, right now. I know you can do this. That's it. And then take that feeling that you've got, that feeling of love, and I'd like you to notice what colour it is. Whatever colour it is perfectly, perfectly fine. And then I'd like you to take, if you need a remote control, you've got one right there that I've provided. Just use the remote control to turn up the brightness of that love. Turn it all the way up, so much that you need to wear sunglasses. Turn it all the way up, turn up the brightness all the way, and then turn up the feeling of that love all the way up as well. And then as it's turning all the way up, notice how you can expand it, that feeling, that brightness of love, all the way through your body, through every cell and every bone in your body. And then notice that as you breathe in and breathe out, that you can expand that love outside of your body as well, that glowing light, that bright, bright light, and expand it all the way out into the room that you're in. And then as you take another breath in and out, that you can expand it all the way out to the whole room, and then out to the whole building that you're in. And then as you breathe in and out again, how you can notice it going all the way out to the state that you're in, and then all the way out to the country that you're in, connecting with every person on the planet, all the way out to all of those people that you love, all the loved ones that you missed, all the way out to every person, every being, every soul, every person that can share in that love with you. And just sit there just for a moment and just notice how good that feels, that you are connected to every other person in the building, in the room, in the state, in the country, across the whole planet through this feeling of love. Just sit in that just for a second. As you take another beautiful breath in and then out. And then when you're ready, only when you're ready, you can just gently open up your eyes and come all the way back into the room. How do we feel after that? Type something in your chat box. Calm? Calm? I haven't got a stutter. This is two people saying calm. Feeling good and very calm, feeling relaxed, yeah? And this is an exercise that we did with the students on Monday, and happier, peaceful, calm and relaxed, grateful. I'm getting goosebumps with all of these beautiful messages that you're telling me. I feel like I'm going to cry because of how much love I feel. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely Naha. And you know what? We had students that were in exactly the same space as you, exactly the same space that, you know, were like, I feel really emotional, I feel really calm, I feel really good, I feel really happy. I feel like I can just be for the moment, yeah? And this is the power of understanding and connecting with love. We said love is the absolute antidote to fear. And in this time, especially when we can't connect like really humanly with people and we need connection so much, this is a way that we can do this through a very, very simple and short exercise. So yeah, there's some really cool stuff. There's some really cool stuff. Now, I have also been doing another workshop with Campus Living, one of the Campus Living villages tonight, and they, and as well as some of the student housing company team, we've got together, and I've got together with another small business here in Melbourne to produce what we're calling mind and body snack packs. I'll bring this in a little closer so you can see. So mind and body, there we go. Mind and body snack packs are like a healthy and delicious, and I say delicious because I have already tried some of them. These are like healthy, good muesli bar, like muesli bar type things. And we're adding into it, that's for body, and we're adding into it some of the mindset magic cards. So every snack then gets a couple of mindset magic cards. So this one talks about how to deal with ranting self-talk. It's an everyday problem on the front, and then like a prescription. Oh, I'm trying to get that in there. I'll have to be back to front for you anyway, I think. A prescription on the back. So, you know, helping students with very simple tools on how they can manage self-talk better. This one is about problem solving, finding solutions to problems by asking better questions. So some examples of some better questions that people can ask. There's 30 different cards in these packs, and I normally sell them as an entire pack like this. But because we're in the time that we're in, you know, you get innovative. And so I had a look at, okay, students are in lockdown, especially for student accommodation properties. Universities, this is not so much relevant to you right now, but student accommodation properties are looking for something that they can do for their students as a little gift. You know, there's a whole lot of stuff that we can't do. So providing those kind of packages to students to help them with a nice little gift, but also helping them with, dealing with some mindset stuff at the same time. That's that. Let me have a look at my other list that I have got up here. What other stuff? Yeah, that's kind of it. Questions, comments, thoughts. Did people learn something today? Who learned something today? Yeah, cool. Can you guys just so that it helps everybody else, can you type one thing? What was your biggest learning, your biggest takeaway from today's webinar? Universal fears? Yeah. 3 universal fears. It's big. And, for us to know that we all have these same fears, we are all connected by the same fears. We experience them differently. And there will be one of them that is more powerful than the others. Yeah. For me, it was about, the fear of not being enough. That ruled and totally, that was the driver in my life. I had to do anything just to know that I could belong, which included things like, needing to do only things that I knew that I would be very successful at. Because I had to know that if I was perfect at it, then I could not possibly be not okay. Noah, do you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask you, I was just referring to the universal fears. How do we differentiate? I mean, the fact that students feel this way, whether it's the fear of not belonging or so on, they probably felt this for a while, but it's
all of us, yes,
amplified now because of the situation. How do we sort of address that with the students to say, this is probably not a new feeling necessarily, you're just feeling it more, or it's not something that's happening now, sort of to not let them freak out in the moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is, normalizing it. Yeah, like emotions at the moment in every emotional space, everything is heightened. Yeah, all of those fear-based responses are all super, super heightened. So I know for me, like one of the most important things that that I do with my private clients, and it's no different in a group because I just see everybody as a private client, basically, even in a group, is that normalizing the feelings that we're all feeling is such an important thing. And, allowing students to know that, well, yeah, I'm feeling really frightened at the moment, and I might be that I'm feeling that I don't belong, or I don't feel like I'm loved, or I don't feel like I'm enough. They're normalizing these different feelings is a really important thing. I have on my social media accounts, I've actually just pulled together a whole bunch of social media square posty things that are all around like mental well-being. I hate using that term because it's so scary for everybody. Yeah. Well-being, understanding human behavior, little posts that I would love to send a link to you guys that, to please feel free to fill up your social media with these posts that I've pre-prepared that explain all of these things that just you can keep putting through on social media in different groups that help people, students, all of us, understand that what they're feeling, what they're facing right now is super normal. Yeah, these heightened emotions that we're all feeling is really, really normal. And, one of the challenges I think that we have, or a number of the challenges, is with isolation. Normally that is a absolute surefire sign that depression and some, what I call making permanent decisions to temporary problems, those kind of things, when students isolate, that's a sign that things are not going so well with their mental health. So how we can continue to build this connection, build the face-to-face stuff, checking attendance on online things, yeah, really important. Looking at who isn't turning up to things. The people that are turning up to things, terrific, that's great, but who are the people that are not turning up to workshops? Who are the people that are not turning up to classes? They're the ones that we need to target even more, because the ones that are in the space of, yeah, look, I know, yeah, I'm here, I'm turning up to these things, I'm keen to understand what's going on, understanding my behaviour, understanding the fears, understanding all that. They're kind of in that space that is a little higher. The ones that aren't turning up to anything, the ones that are absent all the time. You know, I've suggested even with these, with the snack packs for student accommodation properties, to allocate, like put a name on each of them even. The people that haven't come to collect them are the ones that we need to check in on the most. Yeah, it's small things like that. It's taking that understanding of what is it that students do when they are in a really, you know, heading into that crisis space, understanding that and flipping that on its head to understand, okay, these are the people that are the ones that are most at risk. What do we do to connect with them? Make sense? Yeah, cool. Any other, yes, you had was that you, Shannon, with a question? No? Okay. Any other questions before we finish up? Looks like you guys absolutely love the universal fears and the certainty, creating certainty in these uncertain times. That's probably, if you can do nothing else to help students create that certainty and some structure, the certainty comes from some structure right now. So, you know, if it is like, you know, we're now doing online meditation classes, online dance classes, you know, salsa classes, hip hop classes. We're now doing, you know, updating your resume, LinkedIn and interview skills, goal setting and goal getting. Kind of don't like goal setting. Let's get goal getting. You know, all sorts of different options like that. Laughter yoga. Oh, I love the idea. You know how you've seen on the news and stuff on social media, Italians at their balconies all doing the singing. I have this mental picture in my head of, you know, student accommodation properties with their doors open, the windows open, and laughter filling the corridors of, you know, of student accommodation properties. Like, that just makes my heart kind of happy as well, to do something like that, because, you know, laughter is more infectious than bloody COVID is. So let's see what we can do to build those kinds of things in, as well as, you know, body movement classes that are designed for confined spaces, because we know that, you know, not everybody has got huge spaces, and not everybody's got yoga mats and yoga pants and yoga wear. I don't know what yoga people wear, but, you know, we don't all have that stuff. So the teacher that's doing it is a yoga teacher, but also does body movement classes to keep your bodies, your back, your neck, all that kind of thing, to keep things moving, keep things flexible. As well as I've got a physio who does, you know, she's my physio, yeah, who does, has helped me enormously with exercises, because, you know, we're all sitting at laptops like this and we're all looking at phones like this. And so she has a whole range of super useful, practical exercises that, you know, she can telehealth that class to help students. And like, I think especially now with students being at home, you know, sitting on the couch like this a lot, back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain is only going to increase. You know, I think even all of us from home sitting on dodgy couches and, you know, that kind of thing, it's really, you know, we're all struggling in the best of times with back, neck and shoulder pain. And here we are now all working from home without our beautiful ergonomics. So, you know, how do we manage that as well? And students are facing exactly the same thing. So there's a whole heap of options. I will get off this call. I've just noticed it's 3 minutes over time. Apologies. I'll get off this call and send you a list of all of the different things, including Noha, the Corona courses, those short daily drops. We can I'm happy to organise with you guys if you wanted to do something like a bulk purchase for students at a discounted rate, because, you know, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? So yeah, any last minute questions before we finish up? That looks like a big no from everybody. Perfect. Thank you guys for being here and for being the people that really want to be doing something amazing for your students and for their well-being. I will, as I said, I'll send you over a link to the recording of this. Feel free to share it with other, obviously other student-facing professionals as opposed to students right now. And if you would like me to do some more of these webinars, more than happy to as time goes on. If there's something, yes, I'm getting a yes from Shannon, thank you. And from Elise, perfect. And from Noha, perfect. If there are any particular topics that you would like me to cover to help you guys, then shoot me an email, send me a message, or even on here, and let me know what kind of topics it is. Hey, Will, that's okay. It's just great to see you here. Even better late than never is what I say. And you can send me in some topics and I'm more than happy to help you with those. I think we're all realizing that this time things are changing so fast that it's hard to keep up with what everybody sort of, what everybody exactly needs. But if you guys are telling me some of the struggles that you're facing, that your students are facing, more than happy to, you know, to provide some content, to provide some support in any of those different ways, because, you know, this is bringing up stuff that we never knew that we actually were going to struggle with. Yeah. So I am already standing because I like to stand when I do webinars, but I'm going to give you guys a massive, should be like this, a massive round of applause, because I am so grateful to you for being here, for looking after yourselves, for looking after your students in this way, and look forward to speaking to you all again soon. Here to help. My sign off now is be well and be love, and now you understand why that is. So be well, be love, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.